You're wrong. Kronos showed me that my talents are being wasted. You know what my quest was 2 years ago, Percy? My father, Hermes, wanted me to steal a golden apple from the Garden of Hesperides and return it to Olympus. After all the training I'd done, that was the best he could think up. That's not an easy quest, I said. Hercules did it. Where's the glory in repeating what others have done? Luke protested. The dragon in the garden gave me this. He pointed angrily at his scar. I wanted to pull Olympus down right then. But I waited. I began to dream of Kronos. He convinced me to steal something no hero had ever had the courage to take. The bolt and the helm. When we went on that winter solstice field trip while the other campers were asleep, I snuck into the throne room and took them. You wouldn't believe how easy it was. The Olympians are so arrogant, they never dreamed someone would dare steal from them. Their security is horrible. The scorpion was sitting on my knee now, staring at me with its glittering eyes. I tried to keep my voice calm. So why didn't you bring the items to Kronos? Luke's smile wavered. I got overconfident. Zeus sent out his sons and daughters to find the stolen bolt. Artemis, Apollo, my father, Hermes. But it was Ares who caught me. I could have beaten him, but I wasn't careful enough. He disarmed me, took the items of power, threatened to return them to Olympus, and burn me alive. Then Kronos' voice came to me and told me what to say. I put the idea in Ares' head about a great war between the gods. I said all he had to do was hide the items away for a while and watch the others fight. Ares got a wicked gleam in his eyes. I knew he was hooked. He let me go, and I returned to Olympus. Luke drew his new sword. He ran his thumb down the flat of the blade, as if he were hypnotized by its beauty. Afterward, the Lord of the Titans, he punished me with nightmares. I swore not to fail again. Back at Camp Half-Blood in my dreams, I was told that a second hero would arrive, one who could be tricked into taking the bolt and the helm the rest of the way, from Ares down to Tartarus. So Kronos told you that I was supposed to take those to the underworld. And you summoned that hellhound that night in the forest, I said. Kronos and I, we had to make Chiron think the camp wasn't safe for you, so he would start you on your quest. We had to make him think Hades was after you. And it worked. The flying shoes were cursed, I said. They were supposed to drag me and the backpack into Tartarus. And they would have, but you gave them to the satyr. Grover messes up everything he touches. He even confused the curse. Luke looked down at the scorpion, which was now sitting on my thigh. You should have died in Tartarus, Percy. But don't worry, I'll leave you with my little friend to set things right. Talia gave her life to save you, I said, gritting my teeth. And this is how you repay her? Don't speak of Talia, he shouted. The gods let her die. That's one of the many things they will pay for when Kronos takes power. You're being used, Luke. You and Ares both. Don't listen to Kronos. I've been used? Luke's voice turned shrill. Look at yourself. What has your dad ever done for you? Kronos will rise. He will cast the Olympians into Tartarus and drive humanity back to their caves. All except the strongest. The ones who serve him. Call off the bug, I said. If you're so strong, fight me yourself. Luke smiled. Nice try, Percy. But I'm not Ares. My Lord Kronos is waiting, and he's got plenty of quests for me to undertake. Luke! Goodbye, Percy. There is a new golden age coming. You won't be part of it. He slashed his sword in an arc and disappeared in the darkness. The scorpion jumped at me, and I cut it in half midair. Then I looked down at my hand. My palm had a huge red welt, oozing and smoking with yellow guck. The thing had gotten me after all. My ears pounded. My vision went foggy. The water, I thought, it healed me before. I stumbled to the creek and submerged my hand, but nothing seemed to happen. The poison was too strong. My vision was getting dark. I could barely stand up. 60 seconds, Luke had told me. I had to get back to camp. If I collapsed out here, my body would be dinner for a monster. Nobody would ever know what had happened. My legs felt like lead. My forehead was burning. I stumbled toward the camp, and the nymphs stirred from their trees. "Help," I croaked. "Please." 2 of them took my arms, pulling me along. I remember making it to the clearing, a counselor shouting for help, a centaur blowing a conch horn. Then everything went black. I woke with a drinking straw in my mouth. I was sipping something that tasted like liquid chocolate chip cookies. Nectar. I opened my eyes. I was in bed in the sick room of the big house, my right hand bandaged. Argus stood guard in the corner. Annabeth stood next to me, holding my nectar glass and dabbing a washcloth on my forehead. "Here we are again," I said. "You idiot," Annabeth said, which is how I knew she was overjoyed to see me conscious. "You were green and turning gray when we found you. If it weren't for Chiron's healing, you'd be gone." Chiron smiled, but his face looked weary and pale, the way it did when he'd been up all night grading Latin papers. "How are you feeling?" he asked. "Like my insides have been frozen, then microwaved," I said. "Apt, considering that was pit scorpion venom. Now you must tell me, if you can, exactly what happened." Between sips of nectar, I told them the story. The room was quiet for a long time. "I can't believe that Luke," Annabeth's voice faltered. Her expression turned angry and sad. Yes, I can believe it. May the gods curse him. He was never the same after his quest." "This must be reported to Olympus," Chiron murmured. "I will go at once." "Luke is out there right now," I said. "I have to go after him." Chiron shook his head. "No, Percy. The gods—" "Won't even talk about Kronos," I snapped. "Zeus declared the matter closed." "Percy, I know this is hard, but you must not rush out for vengeance. You aren't ready." I didn't like it, but part of me suspected Chiron was right. One look at my hand and I knew I wasn't going to be sword fighting any time soon. "Chiron, your prophecy from the oracle? It was about Kronos, wasn't it? Was I in it? And Annabeth?" Chiron glanced nervously at the ceiling. "Percy, it isn't my place to talk about that." "You've been ordered not to talk to me about it, haven't you?" I demanded. He sighed in frustration. "The gods have their reasons, Percy. Knowing too much of your future is never a good thing." "We can't just sit back and do nothing," I said. "We will not sit back," Chiron promised, "but you must be careful. Kronos wants your life disrupted, your thoughts clouded with fear and anger. Do not give him what he wants. Train patiently. Your time will—" "If I live that long—" Chiron put his hand on me. "You'll have to trust me, Percy. You will live. But first, you must decide your path for the coming year. To stay at Camp Half-Blood year-round, or return to the mortal world for 7th grade and be a summer camper. Think on that. When I get back from Olympus, you must tell me your decision." "I'll be back as soon as I can," Chiron promised. "Argus will watch over you." He glanced at Annabeth. "Oh, and my dear, whenever you're ready, they're here." "Who's here?" I asked. Annabeth looked down. "What's wrong?" I said.